take my spot later on in the waves.
Hey everybody, it's Tatty here, or if you prefer, Richie 2Ts, and this is a speedrun of Firebase Ghost. The original soundtrack was somewhat messed up on the recording of this, so I decided I'd record an amazing commentary over the top. After all, some people have been asking for it, and I do feel a need to tell you about how great I am. And in fact, if you were to press me, I would say that my hair is the best in all of our group, and I'm certainly the best of anyone in this video. Those other guys who aren't quite as good as me are Heroic Mass, Navi, and last and maybe least, the Mighty Goosh. So let's see what we see. I'm just going to talk random shit and maybe some interesting stuff about the run too. So, been doing some speedruns of all the maps just to prove to myself how great I am, and also that we're not just all about speedrunning on Glacier. Obviously, those idiots at the BioWare social network been getting somewhat on our case anytime we post anything up, and my initial idea was I'd do a post that really upset them where I showed a speedrun for every map. I had planned to do this some time ago, never really got round to it, but when I did start running some of the other maps, kind of found that I liked it. Maybe had a bit of trouble getting some people to do runs lately with the advent of Borderlands 2 and the unfortunate sort of fallout from Threadgate. If you don't know what that is, then I can't be bothered to really talk about it. But there you go, that's me. Fickle, unpredictable, and awesome. So let's have a little talk about the gameplay here. This is a speed run, so we are trying to kill stuff as quickly as possible. The early waves are what we call like the trash waves, and on these waves we're killing everything with our weapons, grenades and powers. The later waves, what we call kind of boss waves, we're trying to hit the spawns when stuff initially comes in with our cobras, clear stuff as quickly as possible. So what we usually do is we'll position around the map at the start of the wave, so you sort of block some of the spawn points to force all the enemies into certain places so we can hit them when they're all grouped together, try and take them out as quickly as possible. This map had several challenges. The first was just that there's so many damn fucking spawn points all over the place, and took a little while to sort of try and get our heads around that, find them all. So did more sort of practice runs on this than some of the other runs that we've done. In the end, what we did is we basically split the map into 4 parallel channels, and each player ran one of those channels. So we sort of forced the spawns over to one side of the map to start with on these trash waves, and ran up, cleared them, and then the stuff that we'd killed spawned again behind us, so we just turned round and killed that. We kind of also, the way the map is, for like the one low side and the one high side, we basically worked as pairs as well. So in this game, I'm on sort of the left side of the map from where we start the LZ with Heroic Mass, who's playing Geth, and Goosh and Navi are running the right hand side of the map. Even more so than perhaps other maps, communication is key on Ghost, just because there's so many places that mobs can hide out in the habs, in the middle, on either side, behind you, and if you wanted to get onto things really quickly and clear them efficiently, then you need to do that. If you could hear the gameplay commentary, you'd be forced to listen to us all prattling away and not actually doing a very good job of communicating on this run. Mainly because it's late at night and we're tired, and everyone's presumably in awe of just how great I am, and in fact how great my hair is. I definitely have the best hairstyle of anyone on this run, and people are probably even slightly jealous and resentful and not wanting to talk to me. But no, there you go. It's hard being me sometimes. So we just had the first objective wave, which is a retrieve, which isn't bad, but the map can still be quite a long way from the LZ. Some of the Adrenaline Mod 3, it's not too bad. Targets, as always, a good objective, but not one that you want too many times. Hacks, fairly average actually, not too bad. Disable objectives, terrible, and escorts are generally terrible on this map too. So anyway, this is wave 5 and it's our first rocket wave. We have slightly more static positioning on this. Originally we were very, very static. The only person pretty much moving the whole wave was, in this case, would have been Heroic, running in the left spot to rocket down the far building, which we call Building 7, one I'm looking at right now. But we found that we just split the spawns too much, or it was too hard to rocket. So my position that I ran on that last wave became quite mobile, and there's about 3 spawn points all around, one on the LZ, one of the buildings on the left, and one of the buildings at the right that were quite easy to hit. And as soon as we started being a bit more flexible, then we cleared a lot quicker. 2 guys on the right, Navi and Goosh for the early rocket waves, don't have huge amounts to do. They're more blocking the spawns to force and don't really have to drop many rockets. The downside of that is that they, for the last couple of waves, they had to swap with me and Heroic, and swapping can leave people out of position, and obviously not me because I'm great and I can always get to my new spot on time, but for some of the other guys who are lesser mortals it can be a bit more of a problem. Actually pretty funny because Goosh wasn't completely familiar with his position when he switched with me and just ran around like a headless chicken and actually forced some of the best spawns that we've ever had on this map. We no idea how he did it and could probably never replicate it, but there you go. Right, so I thought I'd just talk a little bit about Mass Effect in general now. To be honest, the game's got rather old and stale. Speedrunning is the only thing that's keeping the game really fresh for me. I mean, playing with friends was, but there's only so many times you can run the same maps with the same classes and the same characters, day in and day out. I mean, the lack of any really good new releases over the summer sort of kept me playing the game, when I probably would have been breaking it up with something else. And while I probably put more hours into Mass Effect than I would have done otherwise, regardless, pretty much it's probably, as a multiplayer game, it's got old before its time. In fact, when I met up with everyone and started doing speedruns was right when I was ready to stop playing in the first place. Now currently, hardly playing at all. Mainly that's just due to wanting to play Borderlands, because Borderlands is just fucking amazing. But also, just I don't want to play games with randoms, and it's hard, being in the UK, coordinating to play with friends who are in the US and other parts of the world, which is a shame because their lives are less rich because of it, and they've not been able to play with me. But also, I want to do speedruns and need people that are decent and know what they're doing. And most people you meet in a public lobby playing Mass Effect just won't be able to. To be honest, I've got some screenshots about some particularly awful games that I've played with some randoms lately, and maybe I'll post them up, maybe I won't. We'll see how it goes. Just finished my first playthrough of Borderlands 2 with the real Tatty actually last night. Finished it off with Grandma and Navi. Actually, the last sort of quarter of the game ran through a lot quicker than I expected. But it was just, I just had so much fun playing it. I've laughed, I felt like crying. I've laughed at other people not being as good as I am. Whether it's because their hair's not as good, they're chumps, or they're just generally not me. Right then, so I thought I'd better actually talk about the rocketing. Had someone up in the buildings on the far left. They would generally run forward to try and take the first spawn, which should be up near Building 7. Where I am right now, pretty static. Just running through the buildings, seeing if there's a spawn over on the left. Generally that would be the only place from this position that you'd see any atlases spawning. I head where I was just looking there, where on the far side of where those mobs are dropping down. You can get a spawn there, but we've generally got someone in that building just looking down at it, and that will block it. But then they're able to take that rocket if stuff does go down there. Most of the rocket spawns were on the LZ, down the far end at Building 7, or just in those habs on the left, and it was pretty easy just to run and take those out. The problem is that there's so many spawns in this map, you tend to get some of the trash mobs spawning elsewhere, but that's pretty easy just to take out as you go, and easy to force the two atlases together with some other stuff. Not really a lot more to say about the rocketing that. Actually, this is one of my better games for rocketing. I don't think I had any particularly bad rockets. No, quite unusual for me. Usually, certainly when I record these runs, I save my worst performances. Whether that's the way I'm aiming, terrible grenades, dying a lot, no, the usual sort of stuff. So, bit of a note. You can't hear us talking. If you could hear us, the actual live commentary. We actually went into this wave with about 5 or 6 rockets remaining, so we definitely could have been a lot more efficient clearing earlier on and taken some time off. I had 2 rockets, and Heroic had 2 rockets. I think Navi had 1 left as well, and obviously it came in very useful because we had targets on wave 10, so we could clear it particularly quickly, but could have been better used probably earlier on to take more time off. Anyway, so extraction. Well, on gold it doesn't really matter what you do. You can pretty much camp out anywhere or run around like lunatics and you'll probably be alright. We decided to camp building 7, draw stuff down and then work around the top of the map. Then our main strategy when we hit the LZ was to all try and glitch in behind the crate at the back of the LZ. I think we managed to get 3 of us behind there where there's space for 2. The previous run to this, which I don't think I even have recorded anymore, I was going to post up the extraction. We managed to get all 4 of us occupying one single space behind the box, which was slightly freaky. But then again, what can I say? We are all very freaky anyway. Freakily awesome in my case. Don't have the hair particularly freaky. Mainly quite cool and slightly goth punk. I'm actually growing it out to start some kind of awesome new style, which will obviously set some kind of fantastic new trend. Maybe I'll post some pictures up when my new hair is ready to go. So anyway, here we go. We're running to the end of this video. Thanks again to my teammates. Running in now. Going to try and glitch into the box with me. Let me know if you enjoyed my commentary or were in fact slightly put off by it, and I'll decide whether or not I'll do some more. Nice dying there, Heroic, by the way. And thank you very much, and I'll speak to you all again soon. Catch you later.